Hi everyone! Hope you're doing okay. So, an introduction to my next guest, or guests. I have a very well-known double act for you all, particularly if you're here in Wales and listen to Heart Radio. Heart Wales is the home to everybody's favourite presenters, Jagger and Woody. And I had the amazing opportunity and lots of laughs when I was interviewing them. Take a listen to our interview.
So my first question for you is, when you guys were growing up, did you ever think you'd end up where you are today? Is this what you wanted to do?
It's what we wanted to do, but whether we thought we'd end up here like this, I'm not sure about that. We went to school together, and we didn't really socialise at school until we left school. And then I was working for a disco agency, and Woody was, one day as I was taking my kit out, he was coming in and we got chatting.
Yeah.
And then the next time I saw him, I was working at hospital radio. And they said, "Oh, we've got a new guy to come and work with you," and it was the Woodster.
Yeah, so I didn't realise until I opened that studio door and saw him sat there. Hey, you're right, and we hit it off from there, really.
Oh wow! So you've known each other a really long time.
Oh, forever, yeah.
Too long.
But we both knew we wanted to do radio, and we did have a little start in radio back in the early '90s. And we were very young and naive back then, and made a few mistakes, as you would expect. And so we both ended up getting normal jobs. I was working in Virgin Records as a manager. You was working in electronics.
Yeah, those are the bad old days. We had to clock in and out.
Yeah. And then we got another spate about 1999, and we decided to let's have another go at getting into radio. And then from then on, the rest has been history, really.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what's your favourite bit about working together?
Well, if you can imagine, if you went to work with your best friend on a daily basis and you went there and you just chatted and laughed, that's pretty much what it is. So, it's great. It's great fun. Really is enjoyable.
I relate to it growing up, because on a Sunday night, on a summer's night on a Sunday night, and you were called in by your parents because it was bath time because you got school the day after, and then you say ta-ra to your friends that go to different schools. It's kind of sad, and you think, oh, I wish they went to my school. Yeah. Well, I've got that with him because we're together, and we have got a really close relationship. We've both been best men at each other's wedding, and got a lot of things in common as well.
Yeah, and what pet peeves have you got about each other? What really knocks you off about each other?
Well, where do you want to start? I don't think we've got long enough on this. I don't think. I mean, obviously, as mates as we are, every now and then we'll have a disagreement about something, but it's very rare, and it's not something that usually drags on.
Shall I tell her about the one row we had?
Yeah. A major row we had.
We had a major row, and our girls had to intervene and say, "Look, this is silly," and the row was over a fiver. I kid you not.
Yeah.
It was over. We got into a bookshop in Northamptonshire when we worked for Heart in Northamptonshire, and I bought a book. It was a book on gags, and I thought we could maybe use some of it. And afterwards, the book was a tenner. And I said, "Oh, by the way, you owe me a fiver." He said, No, the book's for you. I said, "No, the book's for the show." And we had a major round.
I don't want to. I'm not going to give you boring my side of the story here, because we'll end up falling out again. I don't want to do that. So we'll just leave it there.
But Woody's a lot. I'm a lot more stubborn than him. And then a few days later, and we still did the job. On air, we were great. As soon as the mic shut, we were sort of like glaring at each other. Yeah. And then that's when the girls intervened and said, "Look, this is not on." Yeah. So he gave me the fiver back.
I threw it at him. Like that. That's your fiver.
And with that, I just went, "You know what? I don't want it. I don't want it."
And then we argued about who had the fiver.
And then we started laughing. But that was the only major row we've ever had. We've had a couple of words where we don't agree, but we've never fallen out. But that was the only time we fell out, and it was for about 3 days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess that's what it's like being friends. I mean, you're always going to, disagree on some things, but that's what makes the relationship, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you've got to be, to survive in radio as long as we have, in this industry, it's very tough to have. I mean, we had a breakfast show for 20 years, if you consider Wales and Northamptonshire. Not many people in our industry have done that. We are the longest serving male duos in the UK in radio. And I think the good thing about me and him is we're our best critics for each other. He can say to me, if I do something on air, he can say, "I'd rather you didn't do that again," and it wouldn't offend me, and and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because if the other one pulls the other one up, there's a reason for it. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just being narky. It's the fact that it didn't work for us. It's not often that happens, but we
Yeah.
do pull each other up, and there's no arguments there.
The other thing is, as well, we are very different. Jags and I are very different people. You know, we're working for the same goal, but we're coming at it from different angles. We've both got different kind of talents. Jagger is without doubt one of the funniest guys I know.
Yeah, true.
And I'm great at being able to feed him his lines. I know exactly how to work him. So we've both got our talents, and it just complements each other really well.
Yeah.
We're very lucky.
Amazing. And how you said you worked before in a different radio station. How does Wales compare to that?
Wales is coming to Wales is the best thing we've ever done. And that is without, absolutely. Even my family, you know, I've got a little Welsh granddaughter now. She's born in Wales. All my family's here, you know, the triplets and Emma's eldest daughter. And not one of us would go back to Over the Bridge, because the Welsh are brilliant. I say what the Welsh are good at. The Welsh are very good at laughing at themselves. And in England, it's not quite the same. So what we got when we first came to Wales, when it was real radio initially, we'd get the Welsh coming on, telling us stories, and the stories were just fascinatingly, brilliantly funny. And more often than not, the story would be about themselves. And so we would just sit back and let them tell their story on our show. And we realised soon, very quickly, that the Welsh had a fantastic sense of humour. And the difference is, Over the Bridge, yeah, there are some great people. I'm not saying there aren't. But I think the Welsh have got the edge on their sense of humour.
And then you look at the actual place where we're living now. You've got the coast, you've got West Wales, you've got the valleys, you've got mountains and the Brecon Beacons. You've just got it all in Wales, and you're just literally, I mean, not at the moment, but when things get better, you're literally, you know, half an hour drive from the coast or wherever you want to be.
Yeah.
I live in the Vale of Glamorgan, and I've got a coastal front, but my kids went to school in Cowbridge, and I'll never forget one day they just rang up and said, do you mind if we come home from school late? We're going down to Wogmore on the beach to barbecue. And I just thought, my God, you know, we'd never have had this back home, and well, back over the bridge if you want. And you know, this is it. This is where we live, and it's amazing. I love Wales. I love the Welsh, and being here is just absolutely no regrets.
Yay.
Truth, that's the truth.
We've
said that in several interviews as well.
Yeah.
It's well documented that we love Wales, and long may it continue, because this is home.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I've lived here most of my life. I moved to London for a couple of years, and then I came back, and there really is nothing like it.
You're right, and like I said, the Welsh have got a fantastic sense of humour, which helps as well, you know. And do you know what interested me when we first got here? We both agreed. People would come up to us and say, "Welcome to Wales." Now, I would never have dreamt of doing that over the bridge to somebody saying, "Welcome to England," and I got the impression that the Welsh are so proud of their land, and rightly so as well.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you be? So, you know, if you do as the Welsh run in Wales, which is some advice we took a long time ago, you'll be made very, very welcome, and that's exactly what's happened.
Oh, we love Welsh cakes as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that makes a difference.
Oh my gosh, I know. When I went to drama school, I said to friends that there was these Welsh cakes, and they were like, Welsh cakes? I said, yeah. You haven't had them. Honestly, they're the best things ever. And everyone kind of went, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, you never go back once you've had one.
Yeah.
True. Every time we have guests come over the bridge to visit us and stay with us, we all send them back with some Welsh cakes.
Yeah.
Always.
I like butter on mine as well, but somebody that seems to rile people up the wrong way. I don't know why, but they are.
I like butter and jam.
Yeah.
Like a scone.
Yeah.
Well,
kind of like that. A Welsh scone, yeah.
A Welsh cake is a flattened scone.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
But nicer.
And what do you guys find the challenges are with live radio?
Well, I mean, you know, you've got to come up with new, fresh content on a daily basis if you're going to try and make your audience laugh, which we do try and make them laugh. You know, that's our goal, really. And obviously, in these times that are going on now with the virus and all that, I think it was a little bit tougher because there's not an awful lot going on. Normal routine of life, there's stuff going on everywhere, football, things happening just in the city, and there's everything going on. But at the moment, in lockdown, it's just coming up with those ideas and those things to make people laugh. We still managed to do it, I hope, but that's where I think it's been a bit tougher just recently.
We have, Buzz and I have our own little filter, and we'll talk about stories we'll discuss when we've finished on this now. We'll go into a production meeting, the two of us at the moment, and we'll say what you want to talk about. And the big question we ask ourselves is, who cares?
Yeah.
And if we can't answer that question, it doesn't go on air.
Yeah.
And you know, if we're going to talk about something, it's got to be relevant. We've got to connect with our audience. It's got to have a point. And if we don't have all those ingredients, then it doesn't go on air.
Yeah.
We want our listener to say, when they've heard a link of me and Woods, say we'll talk about our kids, I want the parents to look at each other and say, that's just like us. That's exactly what we do. Yeah. And that's that connection I'm talking about.
I guess it's really nice as well because you've got quite a wide variety of audience members. I mean, like, you know, when you're back in school, you've got the kids in the car, and, you know, you've got older people having a listen before their tea, you know, that kind of thing. So I guess it's quite nice for you that you can pick from a lot of different material.
It's true. And interestingly enough, like as you said in the email last week, we celebrated 10 years. So that means a lot of people listening to us on the school run are now driving to work listening to us.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
And you've got, and you know, when you think of it like that, you think, oh my God, they were sat 10 years ago in the backseat of the mum's car or the dad's car or whatever, and now they're driving themselves, hopefully with us on the radio.
Yeah.
Because it reminds them of when they were younger with the mum and dad.
Listening to you, I would have been 15, 16 when you first came on. Yeah. So.
Well, imagine somebody who was 11 years old who's grown up listening to us on that school run, and now they're 21 and going to work themselves, perhaps listening to us. I hope they are anyway.
Well, hopefully they won't change the radio station because, of course, it's got the memory of the family and stuff. And people like to reminisce and think back to when they were at school and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And what was your journey like to being where you are now?
It was tough.
Yeah, tough. Definitely tough at the beginning because, you know, right at the beginning, it's funny when you're trying to get into this industry, nobody wants to know. Unless you've got a track record, they say, what's your track record? You say, well, we've not been on the air yet. Well, you haven't got a track record. We're not interested. So you've got to try and somehow form a track record whilst not being on the air. And you do that by hospital radios. Jagger mentioned we did these licenses. They're called RSLs. They're a restricted service license, which only lasts for a month. So you try and get on these because those kind of stations are looking to take on pretty much anybody, really, who's interested. You work for free. You gain this track record. You make tapes. You make your demo discs. Or your MP3, whatever, and you use that then to try and get into professional radio.
And that's when the stroke of luck happened, because we sent off several, as it was then, CD discs of parts of our shows that we'd done previously. And we sent one to Northampton. And the reason we sent it to Northampton is because we thought with it having north in the title, it was somewhere up north where we're from. Didn't realise it was near London. And so that disc ended up on this guy's desk, and on the disc it said Jagger and Woody. Well, by absolute chance, this guy used to listen to an American couple on the internet in radio called Jagger and Christy. They were a married couple. Of course, he's called Chris Wood. I'm Simon Jagger. So it's Jagger, Chris Wood, Simon Jagger, Jagger and Christy. I'll have a listen to this. Because more often than not, the bosses will just put the disc in the bin because they're too busy to listen to them. But because of the name, he thought he'd have a listen.
Yeah.
And he did, and he liked it. And the next thing is we got invited down. He stuck us on overnights, then afternoons, and then breakfast, all within a year.
And just to put it into perspective as well, of that disc there that he liked, we sent 60 discs went out that week that we'd sent. So just one disc just happened to land on one guy's desk, and he listened to it. The rest of them, not so. Oh, we got one reply other than that, didn't we?
I got a reply. I got a reply of the guy saying that I have no vacancies, but I just wanted to let you know I think your act is good.
Yeah. So two replies and one that did eventually lead to a job. So it was luck, a lot of luck there.
And that radio station that we're talking about then turned into a Heart.
Yeah.
Then we did 10 years with them. Then we left Heart to go to Real Radio, and then Heart missed us that much. They bought Real Radio. That bit's not quite true, but they did buy Real Radio nevertheless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird you saying that because it's very similar within the musical theatre industry and acting in general. You know, you can send out thousands and thousands of audition tapes, but you might not get anybody. Nobody might.
Yeah.
Very similar, and that's kind of why one of the reasons I wanted to chat to you, because it is very similar within the field of creativity, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much so.
You can have all the talent in the world, but you certainly need that element of luck, and that's the day we got it. But having said that, you know, I think we came into the industry 10 years late.
Yeah.
But during that 10 years, we were trying to get in and knocking on doors and stuff and doing various other things. So we didn't get our first big break till we were both 30. So
Yeah.
You know, we that's the only regret. We wish it happened sooner, but
Yeah.
it didn't. And you know, we did try, but it didn't.
And you think the guy that picked that disc up that day was a guy called Mark Jeeves, who we're friends with to this day, and then became our boss. If he'd have been off that week, or off, you know, on holiday that week, or off that day, he might not pick that disc up, and we might not be sat here now. That's how a sliding doors moment almost, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And talk us through your career highlights. So, you know, just your 10 years of where you are now. Talk us through like your best bits.
I think it's when you get that the highlight comes every couple of years when they give you a new contract.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't know, it's like your industry and TV and film, it's very insecure. You know, with a lot of insecure people in, you know, no exception here. So when the boss gives you that new contract, and also you get to see your numbers when they come in, and you know you're doing all right, but strange things happen in radio, and you can have good numbers and still lose your job.
Yeah.
So that's a highlight. But I think it also means when we get to meet famous people and chat to them, and you know, like for example, listening to Lionel Ritchie whilst at school, then interviewing Lionel Ritchie, and it turns out he's one of the nicest guys in the world.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think one of the highlights for me as well is if you go on stage in front of a massive crowd and bring in on a band, we brought Tom Jones on, didn't we, at Chepstow, which is a great honour and a real buzz as well to think you're about to bring a legend on stage. And they give you like, you're on there for 10 seconds, lads, just bring him on. So, you know, they're very strict about this kind of thing, but you just enjoy that moment and soak in the atmosphere. We've also we've done other concerts in the past in other areas where we've worked into massive crowds as well. I love that, even if it's only for a couple of minutes, just to get that buzz on stage, you know?
Yeah, amazing. And I always ask some random questions. So if you could have a farmyard, what kind of farm would you have?
I'd have a sheep farm, and I tell you what, only because I love dogs, and I love sheepdogs, and I love the way they are, and I love the intelligence of them.
Yeah.
So just to work with a sheepdog, I'd have a sheep farm, you know. Yeah. Just for the dog, of the intelligence of the dog. Other than that, there's no other reason for it.
What a crazy question.
I know.
I'd have to look at the economics of it. Whatever makes me the most money, whichever farm that makes are chickens, because they can lay eggs and they can just remain there, can't you? And you sell eggs, perhaps.
Yeah. That's why we'll never be rich. Yeah. We'll never have money.
Well, we've never got out to work on a farm,
clearly.
And
we tried sheep shearing once as well. That didn't go well either.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, the closest I've come to sheep shearing was taking off my dad's hair in lockdown.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just trying to picture your dad's hair now, if that was compared to sheep shearing.
Yeah.
Love me neck.
He's not got a lot of hair. He's not. But I was like, this is like shearing sheep. And he was like, have you ever done shearing sheep? I was like, no. He was like, right. So how are you comparing it? I don't know. I just guessed it's not.
Well, if you manage to get it all off in one piece, because that's what they try and do.
Yeah.
Get it off in one
I
piece.
did actually. I got mine off in one piece.
Yeah.
But I remember looking down at this poor sheep's face, and it was looking back at me just saying, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know, the questioning look on the sheep's face, I'll never forget.
Amazing. And if you could headline Glastonbury with any artist, who would it be?
Well, go on. You say that first.
Well, my band, that's not that well. Well, they are well known, but not as well known as you might think. James, a band called James from Manchester. You might only know them for one hit, Sit Down, but they've been my favourite band forever. And, you know, even now I play them in the car after 20 odd years. Well, I've liked James since 1989. So it'd be James, and Tim Booth, the lead singer, I just idolise him. I've got my man crush on him. So it would be James, which is not an exciting answer for people who don't really know who James are, but that's it.
I want an early 2000s revival at Glastonbury. I want to bring Blue on stage, McFly,
We've done all those.
Busted. Yeah, I'll do it again, because we had some great memories of bringing those guys on stage in the past. So
that one gig we had Daniel Bedingfield, along with those, Natasha Bedingfield. That was a good gig.
Yeah. So and I mean, those guys were great on stage. So I'd like to do that again.
Yeah. Like a big party.
Yeah.
I think as well, when you get to interview certain people, I think my highlight of my career, and sadly Woody wasn't there on this night. I told you we interviewed Lionel Ritchie, and then a couple of years ago I went to see Ed Sheeran in Cardiff, and I saw some security in the box next to me. And I thought, I wonder who that is. And then Lionel Ritchie came walking out, and to cut a long story short, he recognised me from the interview.
Yeah.
Because we played a game with it called Rags to Ritchie, rather than the standard questions that people are asking. You know, in other words, what's the first car you bought to what you own now? How big is your house now to what it was then? And he loved the game that much. And he came over and I went, I just casually said, "Hello, Lionel, you okay?"
Yeah.
And we were chatting like we just stood and watched the whole concert together.
He then said, "Where's Woody?" And Jagger said he's not here, and then he just went back to where he came from. So
It's a true story. No,
yeah.
that is the highlight of my career, though. Lionel Ritchie remembering us, and you'll normally find in our industry that the people that have been in the industry longer, like Lionel Ritchie, Elton John, and all these big names, they're the guys that get it. You know, they understand how to play it. So when you get the guys coming off the X Factor straight fresh into your studio, they have a bit of an attitude more often than not. But, you know, that's probably a whole other interview.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's it like to interview people who are very, very well known?
Well, it's just like talking to you now. You know, it's just the same, really, isn't it? You know, they're just human beings, aren't they?
I'll tell you who did process an interview very badly once was my parents, because we interviewed Robbie Williams. And my dad, many years ago, used to work for the police, and so did Mark Owen's dad. He's called Keith. So Keith Owen and my dad used to work together, in Manchester. And so one day we interviewed Robbie, and I said, "Oh, by the way," I said, "my dad knows Mark's dad." And that's the conversation. So I went back up north to see my parents, and I said, "Oh, Dad, I was talking about you the other day to Robbie Williams." To which he replied with, that they go to a holiday camp up north called the Lindeen. He said, "There's a kid at the Lindeen who does a brilliant Robbie tribute." And I went, "Yeah, well, I understand that." I said, "But I was talking to Robbie Williams." And he went to me mum, "Kath, tell him what that kid's like at Lindeen." She went, "Oh, he's fantastic." And I said, "Yeah, but I was just saying to my dad, I was talking to Robbie Williams in the week about my dad." And she went, "Not a patch on this kid." So, honestly, is that a true story?
Absolutely, yeah.
My wife Emma was in the background going, it just didn't go in. And to this day, I don't know. I mean, my mum's no longer with us now, but to this day, I wonder whether they thought I was telling lies, or they just didn't get it, didn't understand what was going on. But so that's the kind of weird thing you get. So when you do go back and see your friends, you don't tell them these kind of stories because they think you're lying.
Yeah.
And if you go back to where you came from and say, "Oh, I was talking to Lionel Ritchie last week," they'll probably go, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I get that all the time. I say to me, "Oh, I'm really excited." Or I get really excited by people that I've spoken to and nobody knows who they are. So they're like, "Oh, yeah, cool."
Well, you probably get that with this.
Yeah.
No, I think people will know who you are. You're all right. You're safe.
Fingers
And
crossed.
saying earlier that you celebrated 10 years on air at Heart Radio. What do you hope the next 10 years brings for you guys?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because, how long have we got left in Wales doing this show? So, I would hope we'd be here for the next 4 or 5 years. I really would hope to be still doing it that here now. But you don't know. We don't know what the future's going to, what direction the radio station is going to go in, whether they'll still want us on it. We don't know.
We've changed with radio over the years. Some people don't change to get stuck in the ways, but we've been clever enough to figure out if you change with radio changes, you get to keep your job.
Yeah.
And even if you don't agree with the changes, if you want to stay in radio, do what the bosses tell you to do. And you don't always agree with that, but more often than not, it comes back round on itself, and it's good. It's all good.
Yeah. And would you guys ever, if somebody said to you, right, you have to work apart, would you want to do that?
No, I seriously wouldn't want to, because we've struck up such a great rapport on the air that to tear that apart, it wouldn't feel the same.
We were asked by BBC in Northamptonshire about 12 years ago. They were struggling to get talent to go up to Media City in Manchester, where they were moving all the BBC to, and we had a lunch with them, and then he said, "Well, what we're looking at doing is sort of making two separate talents out of you two."
Yeah.
Because we're short of talent, and with that, the conversation was over.
Yeah.
I guess when you say, it's not just a rapport, but you kind of rely on one another. You kind of and it once you're then put in a position where you're on your own, it's kind of a bit like, well, what do I do now?
No, you're absolutely right there. I mean, not just on the air, but off the air, we have different tasks that we do. Like, I'll put our invoices together and send them through. Jags does other things. Jags set this interview up, for example. So we have our different. Jagger looks after more our live work if we're going out doing gigs and things. So we have our behind the scenes things that we do differently as well. You see. So,
and one thing we insisted on right from the start was we've got identical contracts.
Yeah.
So we get the same pay, we get the same holidays, and that's more often than not, you'll get two guys or a guy and a girl or whatever in radio, and one's on more than the other one. And already you've got a recipe for a disaster further down the line.
Yeah.
We don't have that argument because we know exactly what we get paid, and it's exactly the same.
Amazing. And can you think of the craziest thing that you've ever been asked to do?
I always remember the thing. Well, I did a skydive last year for a charity, which I was fine with that. But one crazy thing that we did do, but it wasn't actually us, it was us telling. We used to have a stunt boy with us back in Northampton. And we wanted to find out whether bubble wrap actually works. So we wrapped him up in bubble wrap and rolled him down some stairs.
Yeah, but anyway, we get into trouble for it now. It began health and safety and all that
now. And due to the fact he weren't keen on doing it in the first place, could be seen bordering on bullying. Yeah. But he survived, and I can confirm that bubble wrap does work.
Yeah.
he came away unscathed.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise you trying it though.
No, it was only about 40 steps though. I think we could have done more.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a very good challenge. I love it. And my final question for you guys is, what is next for you, like during lockdown now? You know, what have you got anything else coming up? Or I mean, I guess there's no real events going on, but what's next for you?
Yeah, you're right in saying that there isn't a lot going on at the moment. Until lockdown clears, we're just coming in doing our job, and that's it for now, and staying at home like everybody else. Yeah. You know, I think we're missing. We often socialise outside of work. Like Jags will throw a party or a barbecue at his, and at the moment we can't do that. So you know, like everybody else, we're stuck just doing what we do. You know.
And it's a shame as well because we had a lot of work for the summer, including, you know, DJing at people's weddings. And it's an absolute shame for them. They've had to cancel the wedding and stuff. So there's been a chain of events, you know, it's been a chain reaction, I guess.
Yeah.
Lots of people have been disappointed by this pandemic, not only because of the virus, but also because of them having to cancel massive social events like the weddings, which, as you know, sometimes takes years of planning.
Oh yeah, definitely. And hopefully people can get these things back. You know, we don't know when this is gonna end and what the outcome of it's gonna be, but hopefully these things will get postponed rather than cancelled.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we will continue to be on the radio 4 till 7, Monday to Friday, until we are told otherwise.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I guess that's kept you guys going, right? You've still been
God, it's great getting out. It's great being able to get out of the house, you know.
Yeah.
We're lucky because you know, like you said, most people are just stuck in the home and stuff, but we're lucky to get that release and come and see my mate and talk to Wales at the same time, and hopefully try and put a smile on people's faces during these challenging times.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, you guys do such a great job. We all love listening to you here. So
well, that's really kind. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for saying yes and agreeing to having a little chat with me.
I've enjoyed it, and good luck with what you guys are doing, you know, and keep doing it when you can. Get back to business.
Definitely. I mean, I've been lucky. I've done a lot of like Skype tutorials and stuff, lots of singing classes and acting sessions. But yeah, like I said, we were just a week away from our big show, so that was a bit. But we've managed to do a lot of other charity stuff because we raise money for charity. That's like our big goal. So we've just done a sing-a-thon, a digital sing-a-thon. So that was really cool. We all got involved in that and sent off a load of money to a charity. And yeah, we'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it.
Well, when you do reschedule your big show, let us know and we'll come down and have a look. We'll come and watch.
Amazing.
When it's back on stage, yeah, we'd love to do that, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, the kids would love it. The kids would love that. That would be amazing.
Okay, well that's a deal then.
Fab. Awesome. Well, I'll send you the link when it goes out anyways.
Okay. All right, lovely to talk to you. I'm sorry it took a few weeks to get to where we are now, but we're here now, aren't we?
Don't worry. No worries at all.
All right, well.
Thanks so much. All right.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Bye, kids, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Huge thank you to the boys. Oh my gosh, could have chatted to them for hours. It was amazing. We had so much fun. It's not going to stop there. Lots more guests still to come. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hope you're enjoying everything. Thank you so much for your support. Take care. See you soon. Bye.